Okay, A Dream for Earth by Tony Hawkins. Precognitive dreaming is evidence for more than a mechanically higher dimension to time, but of a multifaceted creative spirit at the heart of everything. This presentation is part of my evidence, a finite moment in a fluid infinity whose nature is life, indescribable, although many try and some succeed. Time present and time past are both perhaps present in time future, and time future contained in time past. If all time is eternally present, all time is unredeemable. Eliot reveals redemption in the end, as do I, in my case, not as a full answer, but as a finger pointing to where a keyhole to the future might be found in the complete study of dreams. In 2019 Rolduc conference, I told a story of an already precognitive dream, which suggested it might hold further precognition for 2020. It certainly did. This is the story of that outcome, including the possibility of far more significant events still to come. The night before the US election, 2016, I had two dreams, which are recorded here. British dates. Off to the space station. I was just off for a 6-month tour in the space station. I haven't packed any clothes and we're going now. I asked my local UK astronautical community, can I borrow some, even anybody's old underpants will be better than just the pair I'm wearing. Nobody in my immediate astronautical group is responding. So I go into another large room where I support staff. I ask, but nobody responds here either. But here I am aware that we will be going to somewhere like Southampton for training. I can go to the shops. I'm impressed that I will be buying all new clothes and can afford to. I'm back in the other room talking to a large Russian-looking cosmonaut in a spacesuit, helmetless with pale red hair. He's sitting beside a much smaller woman, identically clad and with similar colored hair. I say, are we really going for 6 months? He affirms with a laconic nod, but also says 3.5 years. He has a faraway look in his eye. From the original recording, I picked up this. The whole ambience of the place is pretty grotty, unlike NASA, like a few sheds somewhere. At first, I imagined only personal connections, but the male cosmonaut's dominant presence and orange-yellow hair suggested a precognition of Trump's unexpected victory the following day. 3.5 years is a likely round trip to Mars. Might Trump, the showman, promote a joint Russian-US venture? Instead, allegations of Russian interference in the election came to dominate the global conversation. 3.5 years from November the 8th, 2016 is May the 8th, 2020. I chose 3 3/8 to 3 5/8 as an acceptable range. 46 days either side of May the 8th, 23rd March, 23rd June. Almost exactly the first British lockdown. I never imagined an event which straddled the entire period and which stopped the world. May the 30th, 2020, an historic trip to the International Space Station by Elon Musk's Dragon spacecraft, the first private company to send men into space, the first humans launched from America since the space shuttle.
3, 2, 1, 0. Ignition. Liftoff of the Falcon 9 in 3 seconds. Go NASA, go SpaceX, Godspeed, bottom dog. America has launched. So rises a new era of American spaceflight and with it the ambitions of a new generation continuing to dream.
In his speech after the launch, Donald Trump twice says 3.5 years.
Great job. Come a long way in 3.5 years, Jim, haven't we? A long way.
to the incredible men and women of kind. When I first came into office 3.5 years ago, NASA had lost its way.
There are numerous associations between the first dream and the launch, and in the light of these, some startling possibilities regarding the second dream and what could be far more serious future events. Some associated details were startling and yet easy to miss. Someone else had to point out travel to the ISS for an uncertain period, 2 weeks to 6 months for Bob Behnken and Doug Hurley, is exactly what the dream is about. Their live broadcast on arrival takes place in the docking tunnel entrance. In my dream, the cosmonauts were leaning on a bench or sill with a vaguely industrial space behind them. That's Bob and Doug on arrival, and with the 2 Russian cosmonauts on the wings. In my dream, the support staff were standing at long rows of tables with space for another person between them. They were silent and unmoving. The spacing of the 2 standing men at the back, at what we now know as a COVID distance, is just like the dream figures. The light was behind these 2 particularly. Though they are not silent, the masks make them look silent. And here are sheds, Spacex. Doesn't waste money on frills. And this 2.5 years later is now Star Base. The UK Astro Group I associated with the British Interplanetary Society, once chaired by Arthur C. Clarke of 2001 fame. Elon Musk names his drone ships, Of Course I Still Love You, and Just Read the Instructions, after the mind in Scottish writer Ian M. Banks' culture novels. Apart from my own truth, my seeking anyone's used underpants could also fit with Elon Musk seeking to buy used Russian ICBMs before building his own rockets. A note to the future, Elon Musk must understand the living and dreaming mind as a 5-dimensional state. If his Neuralink is not to become our last nightmare whimper, its most significant application must be the revelation of 5D through the mass exploration of dreams. Compared with this, Mars is like a fire in a bin. While trying to draw an image of my time, I found I had unwittingly doodled the Tesla logo. I'm not suggesting a common theme, although humor may well be the dark matter of beingness. The dream has many targets, although target is the wrong concept. Events of the future or of timelessness seem more like psychic attractors wielded by godlike intelligence. Otherwise, how was an event chosen from trillions 3.5 years in the future, which carried so much information pre-packed, not just for arcane scientists, but for anyone on the planet? And yet these aspects can easily be lost to an existing enlightenment. Working on the dream with one psychologically astute group who knew nothing about its precognitive aspect, I saw how depressing it was. Aged 6 months to 3.5 years, an unsanctioned byproduct of Hitler's war, running about in nappies asking questions of uncooperative adults. It took months to realize this paralleled my first dream memory, a prescient addictive nightmare. My first dream memory. My earliest memory is the dream of the blue beings who lived in a shape that was forever moving and changing like a dark flame. I, buried in this so cold, dense baby body, screamed to them to take me with them, into them, to the wonderful place where they're going, but I have no voice. Their wild burning joy is so terrible to be with for one who does not have it. Sometimes for a single moment it seems that one is heard, is coming for me, right towards me, but passes through, and I feel that joy passing through. Substance is a joyous explosion, a sense containing all senses. Seeing is hearing, is touching, is receiving a song, a dynamic, vivid, beautiful darkness before which the dreamer is always outside. I cannot go inside or reach out and touch or go away from here, and this unrelenting exclusion is a desperate agony, although I would not choose to be separated from its cause. Age 7, the fading of the last faint picture-like ghost of the dream was like the coming of a kind of death. Mensa of 2016. At first I see the OSS dream as telling me about myself, then perhaps predicting the US election, then allegations of Russian interference in the election. And in 2020, close associations with an historic launch to the ISS, including live broadcast positions of the astronauts, cosmonauts, Donald Trump's twice 3.5 years. This reflects back on the earliest association with him, making that more definite. Associations with the pandemic, including support staff spacing, strong hints of a deep connection with my earliest dream, and thus our core essence. Apart from performing multiple psi, the dream relates to lost spirituality, which can't be mine alone. My third birthday was 3 days after the German surrender in World War II, May the 8th, 1945. 85 million dead, mostly civilians like Mum, Gran, Dot, and me, which is why I don't believe in individual karma. If Jesus was saving the world by dying horribly, can you confidently say who isn't? And when we all agree nobody, there'll be nobody. All I know is I've been amazed by dreams too often to imagine we are less than infinity's dance emerging from cosmic winter. For me, precognition is a small sliver of timelessness, which I see as the backbone of time, illustrated in my God dream in the first presentation, 2019. I call it inner. According to the Gospel of Thomas, Jesus said, "Why do you wash the outside of the cup? Do you not realize that he who made the inside is the same one who made the outside?" An outer universe measured by science and an inner universe of being, which here I'm calling 4D and 5D, not separate except for us in the age of science. Its United States, perhaps revealed in the double slit experiment. Is this what Roger Penrose, recent winner of the Nobel Prize for Physics, might be referring to regarding the protracted end of the universe?
Well, who's there to be bored? Not us, you see. The only things that are around will be these photons and things, and it's pretty hard to bore a photon. A photon doesn't experience any passage of time. So eternity is no big deal to a photon. It just, whoop, there it is.
Which means that timeless innerness is all here now, as this dream shows, and perhaps in any dream traces of this transcendence can be seen. I repeatedly hear claims that non-lucid dreams are inferior. A Tibetan Lama, Chögyal Rinpoche, described them as of monkey mind, karmic, and negative, which I can no longer find.
Karmic dream is always, it is the negative side, but lucid dream is always from the wisdom.
For the purpose of information for the world as it is, I think this is a tragic mistake, like a bird leaving its feet behind. A dream is a dream is a dream, but what is a dream? A kinesthetic psycho-spiritual conversation at work within the infinite fifth dimension? An image for 5D is the pyramid, with 4D as the base and the summit making the timeless unity, the conversation floating anywhere within the structure. Perhaps the lucidists near the summit, or the sides, and the karmic nearer the core, under the pressure of millions of tons of stone. An infinite mix of infinities, never less than the whole. Whether you're at the top or the bottom, it's all pyramid. Awake or asleep, we are all this. Dismissing such dreams as karmic is like when the bandits at the end of Treasure of the Sierra Madre have their hands on all the gold and they mistake it for sand. A dream is like ice melting into water. 4D day mind melts into the 5D ocean of dreaming. A karmic dream such as mine suggests that 5D is present in all dreams, the whole pyramid, no one less than the other. Why did the pyramid send you my dream with unlaundered nappies rather than something more suitable for the temple? I suppose it is for that most difficult thought that everything is equal and requires an infinite judgment. And here comes total love, and that is the world around us. In this dream, all God in human is questing for acknowledgement, and only the known word for Donald Trump, Cosmo Man, in the place of the spirit who flew through me, says miraculously 3.5 years. This is God, folks. If a thing exists, it's the miracle out of nothing. We should know it before we improve it. Anything less inherits nothing. It's a terrible, sweet, simple formula, and it's no formula. Whatever it is that you're holding, this is infinite love. Knowing this, we might slow down and give it and ourselves real and loving attention. Time for the second dream, which I didn't share at Rolduc because I saw no reason to. In the night, a spirit of snake moved over us. I didn't want to believe it, but when I woke, I found a snake on the floor, perhaps 9 feet long. Then it had grown into a very colorful lizard, about 16 feet long, white with pink like a chameleon or a giant iguana. A fantastic wattled head. It went under the bed. I looked over and saw its head rise up against the wall, the other side. Someone else came in and I said, there's a huge lizard under the bed. And this is the logo for that space expedition we just saw. Spirit of snake felt shamanic. The lizard, its head raised high off the floor, wanted to break through the walls. The spines were like a cockerel's comb. Coronavirus? It also suggests to me Donald Trump standing at the lectern, his head cocking to one side or the other. The lizard's tail and hindquarters on one side of the bed and the alarmingly raised head and forequarters on the other might relate to a 2-term Trump presidency. The first was concerned with getting under the bed, the second out and ready to smash through the walls. Trump's efforts to have the 2020 election overthrown, which climaxed in the Capitol attack, resembled the lizard risen against the wall. A 2-term Trump presidency is still possible in 2024, the period under the bed illustrating the relationship with Biden's term in office. In a full spectrum world, which knew dreaming as a 5D source for world decision making, we'd be working flat out to read the lizard's many layers, harvesting dreams everywhere for clues to what our conscious minds are not telling us. Given the first dream represented Russian involvement, the lizard could be viewed as a warning. It could all be about Donald Trump, but needn't be. It could be, for the aware, an archetype of passing through limitations. "5D nature passed through a venturi created by subnatural science, taking us back into a very much enhanced, even godlike relationship with nature again." You probably have to adapt to seeing this, but it's an attempt to illustrate the dream, thinking of it in terms of the fundamental cosmic nature of all dreams, what's at the back of them. I must push on. I don't know if you cannot fulfill an event foretold by dreams. As OSS shows, there are multiple layers of meaning, but we need a much broader view of dreaming, encompassing total love as world source manifest in the eternal internal, exemplified by women as the absolute mirror and measure and source of inwardness, including possibly 5D science. Will men accept this? Given time and the evidence, it's more than possible. And as the oldies die out, and if the newborn, fresh mesmerized by life, are allowed to grow naturally, our psychopathologies may evaporate. The dream expresses the collective unconscious, whatever society allows in the future. It first had to be caught and delivered by someone non-mainstream. That was a 5-year job, with, on this planet of dead dreaming, a near 80-year apprenticeship. Given this as a true marker of global intelligence, it's a wonder anyone is still alive. The unconscious includes physics and quantum physics with up to 26 dimensions, but this is outer. By unconscious, we usually mean inner, psychically dynamic. Perhaps here are the 26 dimensions, shades of inner-outer, but we are keeping it simple for anyone, because in anyone is the knowledge of being, which society architecturally entombs. Simplify 26 dimensions to 5. Roger Penrose seems happy with this, although he has serial universes. For him, the exponential expansion at the end of time is the hyperinflation of a new beginning. But who or what chooses to make the infinitely big the infinitely small again? 5D has really no dimensions. It's everything inside. Its character is total love. We would call her goddess if her hearts were awake, out of infinite respect and love. For here's the heart of life, the infinite manifestations of being. Which is why in the great river of energy, there are so many self-sustaining loops, trees, stars, quarks, and in people, hints of a conscious universe, either constructed blindly out of 4D nothing, which is itself miraculous, or by something intangible to 4D. Knowing what Donald Trump will do 3.5 years into the future is impossible in 4D, but seems natural to 5D. Does 5D give us a way of reading the world which aligns with total love? Are the photons at the end of time also the beginning, their infinite innerness, the root of our consciousness? Will the machine to study dreams take form upon the inner quantum, hand in hand with the whole spectrum psychology, intimately sharing eternity with time? It is the string to pull the cord, to bring the rope, to build the bridge, to carry the traffic between dimensions. It is the dancing heart of everything, which never leaves the world, because it is the world. My evidence is mutable imagination, supported by glimpses of timelessness afforded by precognitive dreaming. Future knowledge cannot come from science unless science stumbles into and through the doorway to dreaming. Without the inner, the outer has nothing to work on, is nothing. The two should work together like the well-oiled hinge of a door. Dreaming needs to work with everything free from stifling attitudes of ignorance or enlightenment. Always follow the dream. Never come at the dream believing you know anything, and we will never stop learning. T.S. Eliot also said, "We shall not cease from exploration, and the end of all our exploring will be to arrive where we started and know the place for the first time. And all shall be well, and all manner of things shall be well, when the tongues of flame are enfolded into the crown knot of fire, and the fire and rose are one." That really is the last word, but we need action. There are as many paths of truth as there are actions to be taken, but dreams are the core of them all until we can ever outgrow them. 5D enwraps 4D infinitely. Life and death are the wings of dreams, light in dark in love. One mankind is creator of the universe. Once we allow the thought, more love will appear, and it will no longer be a mad thought. Woman, child, God is all there is. Total love, leaving nothing untouched, however much some crave oblivion. Life is eternal. All the life you've lived is all the life there is, a partnership of infinite potential, lacking only the broad, deep collective self-knowledge, uniquely available through dreams, karmic or otherwise. And for the die-hard materialists, we need the quantum net to capture and collate all dreams, Elon Musk, because only then will we see the 4D, 5D web clearly enough, the tiniest tangle of which has been dimly glimpsed in this presentation. It's time to wake up, great dreamer, to the infinite love within you, which brings all this to life. Wake up, or wake up now.